What is going on, guys? Advantage Sports Talk. We are giving you our prediction on the Jake Paul Nate Diaz fight that is coming August 5th. And I already have a prediction for this fight, and I'm going to break down exactly why I see the fight going that way. I have Jake Paul winning this fight. I believe he's going to win by a decision. That's how I see the fight going, and I'm going to explain why that is. I do not feel like Nate Diaz is at his sharpest point right now. I think he's at the end of his, UFC career, and I know it's UFC and it's not boxing, but that still plays into his ability to compete, his ability to fight, how tough he is. Nate Diaz, his biggest attribute to me has always been how tough he is. He's a very tough guy. He has a lot of MMA losses, but he has a lot of big victories as well. He's kind of one of those guys that will pretty much step up and fight anybody. He'll take fights whenever. However, that's kind of his mentality. He's got that, that anywhere, anytime type of mentality. But the reason I don't think he'll win this fight is because I don't think he is defensively sharp as a striker, especially right now. I think he's very tough. I think he hits well. I think he has some of his boxing elements are good, but I do not believe his defense is good enough. I think he has an offensive mentality when it comes to striking. Yes, he does defend himself. Yes, he does block. Yes, he does dodge. I don't think it's good enough, though. I don't see Jake Paul as a real, actual good boxer. I don't. I think his technique has improved a lot. He is looking more and more like a boxer. But he's not there. He's not a boxer. Definitely not. He lost to Tyson Fury. That is the only actual boxer that he has faced, and that is his only actual loss. That is not a coincidence. He is not ready to fight boxers. He's not at that level. He doesn't box at that level. But he is able to beat guys that are kind of wandering out of the UFC stage. He beat Ben Askren. As Ben Askren was leaving the UFC, he beat Tyron Woodley, who's in his 40s and far out of his MMA prime. He beat him twice. And now he's fighting Nate Diaz. I think he'll win this one just as well as he won those other ones. I think he is good enough to box. He is good enough to beat MMA fighters who are at the end of their career. And I can't forget the Anderson Silva. He beat Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva fight, I was giving him credit for that victory because Anderson Silva was actually in boxing for a little while. But at the same time, Anderson Silva was aging out. I don't know his age. He's well into his 40s. He's at the very end of his career, basically. So you can kind of give him some credit, but not full credit. Because he's beaten guys that are way, way out of their prime. Like their best years were in the past. He has yet to beat a real fighter. I'm not just boxing, but real fighter that is right in their prime, regardless if it's an MMA fighter or a boxer. He has yet to do that. He's beaten guys like Nate, NBA player Nate Robinson, and I'm not going to go through the list of people he beat, but he's not beating real boxers. He's at the point now where he's beating fighters. He's beating MMA fighters, UFC fighters, but he's beating guys out of their prime and at the end of their career or after their careers. And the Ben Askren fight was a complete joke. It was absolutely ridiculous. Ben Askren looked as if he wasn't training. Not only did it look like he wasn't training for that fight, it didn't look like he was training, period. He looked horrible, but anyway, back to my point about this fight. I don't think Nate Diaz defends himself well enough as a boxer at this point in his career. I think Jake Paul is going to be more focused on the boxing, the fight itself, his focus level, his motivation, his training is going to be better for this fight. I don't think he's a better trainer than Nate Diaz overall. I think for this fight, he's going to be more prepared for it. And I think he's going to win this fight. I mean, he's going to win in points. I don't believe he'll knock Nate Diaz out. I think Nate's too tough to get knocked out by Jake Paul, but I do think it's possible. if Nate was to win this fight, I think it would have to be via knockout. Because I just don't think Nate Diaz is good enough defensively. He's not going to make Jake Paul miss enough shots to win this fight. He is probably going to be... He's going to tee off on Jake Paul a little bit. He's going to have his moments where he's getting really good shots in. But I think he's going to give up a lot of shots too. And he's going to give up a lot more than he delivers. And that's going to be his problem. And I do think he's going to lose the fight because of that. That is my take on this fight. I think Nate Diaz can only win by knockout. He's not going to win in points. He's not going to be sharp enough defensively in this fight. But yeah, that's my prediction. Give me your prediction. Let me know in the comments. Tell me what you think. Am I wrong about this? This fight, it's like less than 2 weeks away. So we're almost there. Let me know what you think. Do you think I'm wrong? Make sure you put your prediction in before the actual fight, because when I predict stuff, I make sure I post it before the fight happens, because I want to relevate. I want to get credit for either me being absolutely wrong or absolutely right. Anyway, that's this video. That's my take on the Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz fight.